First, we're going to have Mr. Turner, John Turner, the chairman of our Board of Trustees, speak for a few moments, and then he will introduce Mr. Spalding, and Mr. Spalding will introduce Mr. Lamb.
We're buddies.
Again, Mr. Turner is going to speak for a few moments on Mr. Huston and his retirement and best wishes.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. And I want to, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I want to welcome all of you on this beautiful night to this equally beautiful campus and joining this celebration of Bill Huston and his career at St. Catharine College here in Springfield, Kentucky. So it's great to see this turnout for Bill. What an honor it is to be here with all of you as we celebrate William Huston, his leadership and dedication to St. Catharine College, and his innumerable contributions to rural post-secondary education steeped in Dominican and Catholic traditions here in Kentucky. For all of us who know and have worked beside Bill, it is a time of mixed emotions as we help send him off into the next chapter of his life. Knowing that the boundless energy and optimism he exudes and always has will now be remote from us, but fortunately always part of an enduring college culture that he helped create. As I was thinking about Bill's retirement, I naturally reflected on the first time we met back over 18 years ago. This first meeting revealed much about Bill, his ability to connect with others and his deep appreciation for building relationships, his energy, eagerness for action, and how utterly persuasive he was articulating a vision most of us, most of all me, were unable to even imagine. It's important to remember that at that time, St. Catharine College was a two-year institution comprised of less than 150 students, 2 buildings, and a very skeptical board of trustees questioning its capacity to sustain itself and remain relevant on the cusp of the 21st century. And since that time, I don't think there are now, other than outside of the KCTCS system, there is a single 2-year college left in the state of Kentucky. For over 18 years, Bill has lived, breathed, and advanced the story of St. Catharine College. He knew which chapters would and should remain the same, and importantly, he knew which needed to be rewritten. He was ever mindful that as president, he is a steward of both a college community and a guardian of traditions that give St. Catharine meaning well beyond its educational purpose. And that is those traditions represented by and through the Dominican Sisters of Peace. I've always admired the obvious joy Bill had in his work, and more importantly, the humility that is so much a part of him and everything he undertook. I am unaware of personally ever knowing or meeting any leader as effusive in his praise for his campus and trustee colleagues as frequently or enthusiastically as Bill Huston. Yes, there have been challenging times for St. Catharine College. Those challenges rarely fade for small, private, liberal arts institutions. But I believe the defining measure for any individual's time is that he leaves behind a better, stronger institution than he found upon his arrival. And the answer in Bill Huston's case is a resounding yes. Our college is well positioned to continue on a forward trajectory that Bill Huston charted 18 years ago. So speaking for myself and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, Bill, thanks very much. And I'd ask you, if you would, to step forward for just a minute. So the conferring of honorary degrees is a celebration in which a college or university acknowledges significant contributions made by an individual to science, public service, literature, academics, and the arts. It is only fitting that tonight we honor President William D. Huston in the same manner we acclaim the accomplishments of other extraordinary women and men who create knowledge, move societies, and extol and elevate the human spirit. William D. Huston, we thank you for your exceptional leadership these past 18 years at St. Catharine College, which has enhanced this community, the Commonwealth of Kentucky, our nation, and our world through the many students you have served and nurtured. Therefore, as chairman of the board and by the powers invested in me by the trustees of St. Catharine, I confer upon you the degree of Doctor of Human Letters. Bill, congratulations. So now I'm going to turn this over to my dear friend and colleague, Mr. Len Spalding. Mr. Spalding.
Thank you. Wow, what a crowd. What a crowd. And I'd just like to add my thanks to all of you for being here. We've got people from as far as Lexington and Louisville and perhaps others from even a farther distance away than that. So we thank all of you for making the effort to be here. This is a very significant evening. Bill's journey certainly has been a very eventful one, as almost all of us are well aware. And today I'm going to relate a few reminiscences from my 18-year association with him and through him with St. Catharine College. But before I do, I would like to recognize and applaud the wonderful and the timely, untiring efforts of SCC's board chairman, Mr. John Turner. He was on the board that elected Bill Huston 18 years ago, and he has been a great leveling and, I would say, voice of reason throughout this time period. I'm sure Bill Huston would be the first to say, John, I don't think I could have made it without you. So let's take a moment again and give our appreciation to John Turner for his efforts. That's enough. That's enough. Some of us got to live with him, and we want to keep him as humble as he was coming in here tonight. Yeah, you're right. His wife said yes.
Long suffering.
Yes, long suffering. Yeah. Okay, my earliest and in many ways, I think my fondest memory of Bill occurred really when he was taking over the reins here at St. Catharine College, and involved a telephone call and a subsequent visit he paid to see Susan and myself. His purpose in being there was to ask us for a loan to get through the summer months when tuition revenues aren't coming in. I replied to him that I don't make loans without first seeing a financial statement, because I want to at least assess the probability that I will get my money back. So Bill zipped off back to the college again and came back very shortly thereafter with an income statement in his hands, showed it to me. I took one look at that statement and I said, Bill, I'm not going to make you a loan. I said, you know, I am really concerned in looking at this statement that you may be very close to the point of no return. I think you need to right now embark upon a vigorous fundraising campaign. So together we talked a while and we concluded that $3 million would be about the correct sum at this particular time. But we needed to start immediately. Like that afternoon would have been a good start right then. But within a week's time after my very first meeting with Bill, within a week, counting Saturday and Sunday too, Bill had talked me into making the first contribution into the campaign, number one, and number two, to hitting the road with him to try to start raising that $3 million. Unfortunately for Bill, he chose a very weak partner because I absolutely knew nothing about the fact of raising money for charitable causes. I knew how to raise money with a return on it, but for charitable causes where the reward will be in the hereafter, that's a different story. So, and it, you know, also one other thing became very clear to me as we got out on the road, and that was that we had nothing to point to particularly other than our hopes and aspirations. In other words, basically we were selling air, and donors wanted to see signs that something tangible was there to donate to. So, and this is literally the truth. I can see Bill every now and then nodding about as I'm going through this. With a smile on his face, he said, in effect, sort of, not to worry. He had a good friend and mentor, the Reverend John Begley, who had spearheaded that very successful building of Lindsey Wilson College down in Paducah. And it started pretty much, as best I could tell, from about the same level that we were in 1997. Interestingly, Dr. Begley's only college building qualification was somehow or other derived from being the pastor of a small Methodist church. But he was an amazing role model. And we learned from him that you have to be constructing something that donors could see and believe in, even though you didn't quite have the money to justify the construction in the first place. The second element in the Begley model held that reasonable amounts of borrowed money at decent rates of interest can be just about the only ally one has in growing a college. His one caveat, however, that he strongly emphasized in that very connection was that a growing student enrollment must become a relatively significant element in a school's income statement. In other words, you had to have some income to pay off those loans. And with Bill's tireless pursuit of potential students, many of them were of the non-traditional type and a whole lot of prayers, the student body at St. Catharine College began to grow from that low level that John was referring to. And surprisingly, so did our contributions. Not enough really to cheer about, in my estimation, but enough to keep me from throwing in the towel. But the biggest element in that regard, and at that time, was Bill's unwavering ability to see the bright side, even when there wasn't much bright side to see. And also his absolutely dogged determination to keep pushing forward. I am certain it was that attitude that kept this small, young enterprise afloat. through many bumps in the road of every conceivable type. One thing became a certainty in my mind at that time. If you're inclined to want to start a college from scratch, you really better know how to take a joke. And over these years, laughter in some of the most ridiculous situations was about the only medicine available to Bill. But one thing that kept me focused was reading an excellent book by a guy by the name of Frederick Rudolph on the history of American colleges and universities. From this very interesting tome, I learned something that was a total surprise to me. And it was that St. Catharine College's experience was pretty much the norm for young colleges trying to make their way in their very formative years. And some failed, but many surprised everyone by surviving and ultimately prospering. And some of those unlikely candidates for success became, believe it or not, the institutions we know now as Duke and Vanderbilt. Just to name a couple. There were a lot more similar names. So, here we are today. Our little 2-year junior college of less than 2 decades ago has been transformed into a competitive 4-year educational institution with higher quality faculty and a broader array of programs, and with several attractive, well-functioning structures dotting our campus. And also, the college has in place some strong financial and enrollment teams to assure that as St. Catharine College faces its future, it will, in keeping with the John Begley model, maintain its debt obligations and enrollment tuition dollars in a proper balance. Now, none of these elements fell very easily into place. The growing and learning process is always arduous. But a lot of things are now in place here at this school. Now today, we have an opportunity to focus on a new, heretofore unattainable financial step forward. The William D. Huston Scholarship Fund to aid needy students with a strong desire to continue their education. And with such a fund in place, the college will be able to strengthen its tuition income while, most importantly, offering opportunities to those students deserving of a helping hand. We certainly hope that some of you here today will find your way to helping them, those students, in this regard. To my mind, this is the finest statement of appreciation we can make to Bill as he turns the page in his continuing efforts in behalf of St. Catharine College. I repeat that now. As he turns the page in his continuing efforts in behalf of St. Catharine College. Do I make myself clear? At any rate, Bill, may God bless you for all of your efforts. Your legacy will be forever a part of this institution. But of course, that legacy will be of an ongoing nature as you become, on an even more full-time basis, an ambassador for your beloved St. Catharine College. And by the way, Bill, I thank you for taking me along with the ride. I appreciate it. And now, just in time, it is my distinct pleasure to turn the podium over to my very good friend, Bill Lamb, president of WDRB Channel 41, your TV. And this must be a special favor to you, Bill, because Bill Lamb, when he leaves here, he's hopping a plane on the way to Ukraine. So we may be the last civilized stuff for a while. So, Bill, welcome to the podium. I was really wondering how I was going to ad-lib his talk since I don't even know it.
Thank you. It's really good to be here. I think I have seen most of the Commonwealth this evening. You can't always trust your GPS, but I've been everywhere. I've been to your house. That's nice. I saw that. Saw your house. So it's a lovely, lovely place. I am just in time, but I want to tell you right off the bat, it was not my fault. I mean, you got to know, my mother smoked when she was pregnant. So, I mean, I'm doing the best I can with what I've got, you know? Well, look, I just want to say that it is a real privilege to be here because President Huston is a man I've admired for many, many years because I think the path that he's taken is very similar to the path we've tried to take at WDRB television. In Bill's early years, St. Catharine College was a small liberal arts college that wasn't very successful financially. When I joined WDRB, it was a small, pretty unsuccessful financially speaking television station. We were a nonprofit organization without any tax benefit. So when Bill came to St. Catharine, he had the college had 20 employees. Today it has about 150, right? When I came to WDRB, we had about 130 employees. Now we have 191, so there's growth, parallel path. When he arrived, there was really only the mother house, the administration, and the Lord's building. Lourdes, yeah? Lourdes. In 18 years, Bill has helped create the Hundley Library, the Health Sciences Building, Dining and Student Center, sporting facilities, and the dorm. When I arrived 13 years ago at WDRB, we offered 37 and a half hours of news, most of which was rated 4th in the market. And today we do 54 hours of news a week, more than any other station. And every newscast is either number 1 or number 2 in the ratings. So growth there, like you've had growth here. When Bill came to St. Catharine, it was a 2-year junior college with about 100 students. Today it's a 4-year school with 850 students. Tremendous growth. When I came to WDRB, it was a distant number 4 television station. Today we sit on top of WHAS and Wave TV in terms of viewers and revenue. Today, WDRB is the number 1 charter Fox station in the United States. So growth is good. I like growth. But I mention these things because this really isn't about WDRB, of course. It's about what does it relate to Bill and St. Catharine. And I mention it because there is some commonality in that growth. There is, because our philosophy has been money follows excellence. If you do things the right way, for the right reasons, and you do it in an excellent fashion, the money will follow. You can substitute the word money for success or anything else, but it has to start with excellence. And you can say students will follow. If you put excellence first, students will follow. Well, my good friend Len just said, we learned from Reverend John Begley that you have to be constructing something that donors could see and believe in, even if you didn't quite have the money to start construction. That's money follows excellence. That's the same philosophy. And the reason that's important is so many businesses and so many institutions of higher learning get it backward. They say we'll do excellent things as soon as we have enough money. Trust me, we want to do excellent things, but we need money first. Well, the problem with that is you never have enough money and you almost never achieve any kind of excellence. So, Bill did it right. Bill did it right. excellence is elusive. It has to be tended to. It has to be cared for. And I think that's a legacy that Bill is going to leave. Bill understood that excellence isn't usually the result of a grand, sweeping gesture, one moment in time. It's a bunch of little incremental things done really, really well that stack up one upon another. He built this place the right way. He'll leave a legacy of excellence, a beautiful blueprint for his successor to follow. Now, what better gift could he leave St. Catharine College? Bill, I hope you have as much success in retirement as you've had here. Your effort's been greatly appreciated.
And now we're going to have a special presentation by Sister Margaret Ormond. So if she would like to come up.
Say a few words.
First, I'd just like to say how happy I am to be here, and I know how happy we as Dominican Sisters and Associates are to be here to honor you. And we also want to honor you, Linda, because we know that behind any good man, there's a better woman. That's funny, I'm only seeing the women clapping. Also, I want to say that you might think I talk funny. And I could say the same about you. But just let me say, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. And when I was a little girl in Brooklyn, New York, I had the Dominican sisters from Kentucky. And so they not only taught me how to speak, but to read and to learn. And they also taught my 2 brothers and 3 sisters. And when my little brother, the oldest, was in the 2nd grade, he had a Dominican sister from Kentucky who taught him that you had to study no matter what else you were doing. And so 2 years later, when he was in the 4th grade, the teacher said, "Where do you want to go?" And some kids said Hollywood, and another one said Disney World, etc. And he said, "To the pinnacle of learning at St. Catharine, Kentucky." and he said that, and I thought of that as I was coming, to really say here, and how we can say it truly is, in this area, a pinnacle of learning. And we want to honor the role you have played in that, in this distinguished gift that you've given to the people here in this area. So on the occasion of the celebration of 18 years as president of the College of St. Catherine's, the Dominican Sisters of Peace, sponsors of the college, wish to offer you our gratitude and a blessing. We are grateful to you for your service over these past 6 years. And haven't we already heard so eloquently presented the contributions you've made in terms of creating a 4-year college from a 2-year. The buildings abound, and also in a special way, I want to say, the way you have paid careful attention to promoting the mission as a Catholic and Dominican institution here in Kentucky, the birthplace of the Dominican order in the United States. That's my word of gratitude, and now a word of blessing. We know well that all of our life is about blessing, and you have been a blessing for us. So I want to present you with this papal blessing from Pope, our present Pope, and I'd ask you to open it so you can share it with everyone, and then we'll have a Dominican blessing. He wanted to come when he heard about it, but he had another. I think he's going to meet you in the Ukraine. And that says, His Holiness Francis cordially imparts the requested apostolic blessing to Bill Huston, and through the intercession of the Virgin Mary, invokes an abundance of divine graces on May 20th, 2015, USA. And now I ask the Dominican sisters and associates present to stand. And I ask you to come forward too, so we can give you the Dominican blessing. And if the rest of you know it, join in. And Joseph Leo, would you lead us?
May God create or bless you. May God redeemer heal you. And may God the Holy Spirit fill you with life.
Thank you so much, sisters. And now we're going to open it up for just a few minutes. If anybody wants to say a few remarks, please just come up here, and we'll try to do that for maybe about 4 or 5 minutes. And then we're going to have Tom Bystrick give a toast. But if anybody wants to say anything, say a few words, please come up to the podium.
My name is Brereton Jones, and I will never forget the number of appointments that a governor has to make. Many, many appointments. Week after week, month after month, year after year. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that of all the appointments that I made, and I made some really good ones. And the record will show that we started with the biggest deficit in history, and 4 years later we left with the biggest surplus in history. That wasn't because of me, that was because of a lot of people that got together and said, we're going to change this thing. And Bill Huston was one of those people. And when it came time for me to leave and go back to the farm, and I watched Bill Huston, and he gave me a call one day and told me what he was planning to do. And I thought it was just the greatest choice in the world that he could make. And it turned out to be such a great choice for everyone, a great choice for everyone in this room. Because that's real quality, that's what it takes. And by God, this is something that I wanted to be here today to just tell you, Bill Huston, straight ahead, that nobody did a better job than you in all of our administration, and God bless you, and God bless this institution.
I'm Sister Joan Scanlon. I'm on the leadership team of the Dominican Sisters of Peace, but I was here with Bill when he first came. I too was on that search committee representing the Dominican Sisters when we chose you, Bill. And we donated the 38 acres so you could build this building, and have been there all the way. And we're very, very proud of you. We're grateful for who you've been to us. I recall when you first came here, you practically ate every meal in our refectory. Do you remember that? He was kind of out there by himself working 24/7, and we kept feeding him. Those were the days, yes, and where we kind of forged a relationship. And I feel like I've walked with you some ups and downs, and you with me. You came to see me in St. Louis. You came to see us in Chicago. We've we've walked this journey of friendship together. I'm very grateful for what you have done, and the Dominican Sisters stand by you. We are very committed to St. Catharine College. You know that. Hope you all know that. We are here with you as we go forward. And thanks, Bill. All the blessings to you. I'm ending my time. I don't know where I'm going. You don't know where you're going. Who knows what'll happen. So, God bless you.
Tom Bystrick, wherever you are, there you are. If you could help us with the toast.
Thank you, Kristen. That's a hard act to follow. I've never followed a governor and a pope, and wow, that's tough, I tell you. But it is quite an honor, Bill, to be able to offer this toast to you tonight. Of course, President Huston joined St. Catharine in 1997. I'm sure all of you have heard the first story of his first Board of Trustees meeting when it was still questionable whether or not we were going to go on. And he sat outside of Archbishop Kelly's office, I think without an appointment, and I just waited for him to come out. By the way, Archbishop, I got a little favor to ask, which kept us open at that time. And in subsequent visits by Archbishop Kelly that Bill orchestrated. It's stories like these, ladies and gentlemen, that and countless others that epitomize the wonderful nature and contribution that Bill has made to St. Catharine College. We at St. Catharine are indeed fortunate to have the privilege of sharing Bill's expertise, work ethic, and commitment. He has many, countless accolades, probably too many to go into right now, from community accolades to higher education to Alumni of the Year at previous institutions he's been. They just go on and on. You've left, the word legacy has been mentioned a number of times, and you've left a remarkable one here that will remain at St. Catharine for years and years to come. You're leaving St. Catharine a much better place than when you came, and that's a tribute to your professionalism. We can see, as many people have alluded to, that this is a much better place. Everything you see here from the softball field to the baseball field to this building is a tribute to Bill Huston. Nothing except Lourdes Hall existed when he came in 1997. We'll miss you as a colleague, a consummate professional, a confidant, a friend, a wise counselor, a shoulder to lean on, a visionary, a leader, and indeed a gentleman of note. Remember us fondly, and may the years that lie ahead for you and Linda be filled with laughter, happiness, and even more dreams achieved. This is our wish for you as we say so long, but not farewell. I've never given a toast before without people having a lot of drinks in their hand, but we do have enough for me and you anyway. And the bottle says, a special thank you, celebrating 18 years, William D. Huston, May 20th, 2015. And if you do have a drink, I wish you would join us. If not, we can make believe. Or get some after this toast. Please join me, if you would, stand. And a toast to Bill Huston. Thank you for everything. Cheers. Cheers.
First off, I want to thank Kristen and Angela and everybody that worked so diligently to make this building as beautiful as it is tonight, with all the decorations and the memories. I don't know, it's tough. 18 years in. Let me introduce my family first. I wouldn't be where I am today without the support of my family. My wife Linda, I'd like to has been so fortunate I have 4 of my 5 children with me tonight. I'll start with the oldest, Patrick, in the back here. Patrick, number 2, is in California, was unable to be with us tonight. The middle child, Suzanne, just flew in from Washington, D.C. Suzanne did not know she was going to be here tonight. Ben Green, number 4, and his wife, Amy. And the child among the group, Caitlin, the newest attorney in our state, and Brandon. And what I don't have tonight are my 5 grandchildren who have been deprived of a lot of time since I've been at St. Catharine, so that becomes much more of a priority. I just want to thank everybody that's here tonight. I don't think there's a person that walked in that door that I didn't know, or a person that hasn't been of support since I've been here at St. Catharine. I knew the first time that I stepped foot on this college, and it was a couple of days after the ad went out into the Lexington paper. I was working at UK, and I went to the next building over, and Governor Collins was there, and I said, "You just retired from the presidency at St. Catharine. Tell me a little bit about it." And she said, "It's the hardest job I ever had." and she said, it's very challenging. When you're the governor, you have a lot of people to assist you, Governor Jones, but when she was here, she didn't have quite as many hands. So I drove down, and I sat in front of Lourdes, and it was the only bench on campus, and I talked to whoever I could talk to. You know, I had a pair of jeans on and tried to be unassuming, and everybody I talked to, whether they were young or older, was very upbeat and very complimentary of St. Catharine College. So I knew that the future of St. Catharine's could even be much brighter than it was at that particular time. And St. Catharine's had a good reputation, extremely good. I know that Campbellsville vigorously recruited every 2-year teacher that came out of St. Catharine's to go into their 4-year program. I knew we were a strong academic school. But at age 49, I thought I'd learned a lot in life. I'd been taught by Ursuline sisters in grade school, Zavarian brothers in high school, but I'd never really been taught until I came here and got indoctrinated by the Dominican sisters. Not to mention there were 100 of them living right across the parking lot. But I will say that from February the 1st, 1997, and Sister Joan mentioned the first donation of the land. The request went over September 30th, 1997, and they went to all corners of the country and had open forums about whether the land should be separated. And on December the 1st, I got a letter, which I have laminated, that the sisters approved the donation of the land to the college. And that enabled us to start the dream that you see today. And I'm not going to say that every day has been a sunny day, but every day I've never left my home to drive to Washington County to regret going to work, or to know that the efforts that many have given, both currently and before me and hopefully in the future, are not well received and appreciated. I've never worked in an environment as I have in this college and this religious community and this community, where so many people give and with no expectation in return. Just give because they want to give. I use this example in my home community in Harrodsburg on how people can make things happen in Washington County, Marion County, and Nelson County. People embrace this college regardless of your faith, regardless whether you went to school here. None of the people that have spoken tonight, I met Sister Joan, but the lay people have graduated from here, and most people on our Board of Trustees have not attended St. Catherine's. Robbie Poland has, but Lynn hasn't. Lynn moved back here to retire and to have a nice, peaceful life. John was chairman of the board when I was hired, and has worked feverishly to help promote the mission here. Lynn and I have walked many miles. You know, Robbie's given me many pep talks. Bob Sutherland's here tonight. I haven't seen Bob in years. He was chairman of the finance committee when we broke ground for the first building. And he nixed the $3 million complex for something that was much more lasting, a $6 million, the Spalding Center. When have you ever heard of a banker get liberal, you know? I could fill volumes of stories that have happened here, and they've all been inspirational to me. The people associated with St. Catherine's, the students that go here, the success stories that we have. You know, this is the little college that refused to give up in a growing environment, a competitive environment that reaches nationwide and worldwide. You can sit in your living room and get a college degree from almost anywhere in the world. When I moved here, it was the local college. Our competition was within several miles around, and now our competition is everybody. Nothing that we have been able to achieve here would have been possible without partnerships. I look at the medical building, I look at the sophisticated programs, the hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment, almost in every case, donated. You know, equipment as much as $600,000 for one piece, donated. And that didn't come because people didn't believe in St. Catherine's. It didn't come because people didn't believe in our past graduates. We build today for the future tomorrow. And that happened before I came. I reaped the benefits of the people that worked before me. Norma Rapier, Janice Murphy, Ed O'Daniel are here tonight. They were on the very first board back in 1957 when we transitioned into the Board of Trustees that we have today. You know, just countless stories of people that have gotten involved to make this college the way it is today. And I have good news to report that what you see today is just a sampling of what this college can be a few years from now. We will continue to refine our programs, and we will continue to be a viable institution and to be an institution where our graduates are in high demand. That, I have no doubt that all that will happen. And I think that the best days to come for St. Catherine's are those days in the future. We've had a great run during these almost 2 decades, but the foundation has just barely been set. And as Lynn said, the book that we've referred to so many times, almost every private college in the United States today started with 1 building or 2 buildings and a few people that felt like that college could make a difference in that community or that region. And this college here is no different. It will continue to grow, and it will continue to shower. There are graduates. We had 175 graduates walk across last week, and to see these people come in from high school and to spend 4 years here or 5 years here and to leave, and then to see them come back 4 or 5 years from now, it's all what we're about. And that's what fires all of us that work here up, is to see the successes that happen. But I always go back to the support of the Dominican sisters, their unwavering support And they provided almost all the assets up until the 90s. They taught here, they were the staff here, they were the presidents here, and they carried that full responsibility. And then in the 90s, we transitioned over to mostly lay people. But I'm proud that today we have just as many religious on staff today that we did 18 years ago when I came. And we're always looking for future opportunities. But I know that my tenure here has changed my life, and I think it's changed the lives of my family. The importance of what it means to work into a mission-driven environment as it is here. I just want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight, but more importantly, to be there when we needed you along the journey. I know when we came in the door, the joke was, we get to come on campus tonight without a donation being asked for. And talking to Bob Mattingly, you know, he has one hand on his checkbook knowing that I might go for it. But everybody here has been supportive along the way, whether you were a board member, certainly whether you were a Dominican sister, whether you worked here as a Dominican sister, as a faculty member, a staff member, a board member, or a member of the community that just happened to reside right across the parking lot, and you prayed for us every day. All of our community supporters, you know, this college raises more money per student probably than most colleges in Kentucky. It's unbelievable. We have a development staff of two people that do that. And then our students come from around 36 states and probably 15 foreign countries. And they come to St. Catharine, Kentucky, here in Washington County. And they leave different individuals than they come. My main regret tonight is that my mom and dad aren't here. My dad was alive. My mother has been gone for 37 years. But my dad was alive when I got the appointment to come to work at St. Catharine. And he was so proud. And on his deathbed, now here's an old school veterinarian that came down from Canada, you know, because there were no licensed veterinarians in Kentucky to speak of. He was the 17th one. But on his deathbed, he wrote me a check for St. Catharine College, and he said, "You've got to keep the liberal arts in that college as long as you're there." He says, "The liberal arts is the foundation that makes you successful." Well, Mom and Dad aren't here, but the person that has been so instrumental in my life since I learned to walk was my mother's best friend. And Pat Keller from Harrodsburg, we celebrated her birthday. I'm not going to tell how old, Pat, but Pat was my mother's dearest friend. And she has been with me before Mother left, but certainly since Mother left. And Pat had 7 children, and she took me in as the 8th one. And Chris, the baby here with her tonight, I just appreciate you and the love of the Keller family and your support for St. Catharine College since I've been here. I want to thank everybody. It's really, really been a moving experience. Thank you.
So much, Dr. Huston. So what we want you to do for the rest of the evening is just mingle and enjoy each other. Again, we do have that retrospective upstairs on the 2nd floor, and it will continually run throughout the night so that everybody can hear some words from the community and past board members and just various different individuals. Please enjoy your evening. Thank you so much for attending this evening and honoring Dr. William D. Huston. Have a great evening.